Good morning and welcome to Wairarapa Women's Centre Inspirational Communities. Thank you to ethnic communities who actually pay for the radio show and enable us to come in and actually talk to some of these inspirational people within our community. I'm dressed this morning by Dress for Success. We had a day's vote because due to holidays, yes, we are pre-recording, and within 20 minutes, we had 15 replies on the Women's Centre site. So fantastic, guys. Really love you being involved in the voting. Really excellent. And thanks to Mel. She's given me a nice, it came in the other day at Professional Real Estates, and it's a nice linen dress, something nice and smart. Today we're actually interviewing Lucy Adlam from Joy for Generations. Lucy is such an interesting person, but she's also so inspiring, and she does it without even really realising that she does it. She's very humble, and she's a lovely lady to meet. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kim. I love being here. It's exciting.
Oh, so what are you doing? So, let's talk about Lucy. Who's Lucy?
Oh, it's always hard to answer those basic questions about yourself, especially if you don't like talking about yourself. But yes, so I am a mother of two. I've got a 3-year-old and a just turned 5-year-old, just started school yesterday. And I've got my husband here who's an electrician, and we've been in the Wairarapa for 3 years. And I've just put together some photos to show like a little bit about myself. And share a little bit about things I'm interested in. So a big part of my life is connections, and that is, you know, I just surrounded by friends all the time, and I'm very lucky to have a lot of good people in my life. So yeah, I mean, I for the last 5 years I've been quite settled with, you know, obviously family life, but prior to that I lived quite a outgoing life of like traveling quite a lot and going to festivals all around the world, and that is a side, like a part of me that is quite important that I've definitely lost a little bit since I've had kids, but I'm trying to get it back now that they're growing up. You know, you've got to try and find yourself again. So yes, so I've been to I've had some amazing experiences overseas, which I think have inspired what I'm doing for work now. So one of the festivals I've been to is called Burning Man, and it's in the Nevada desert, and there's 80,000 people who get together for a week, and it goes from being a desert to being a whole city, and you know, you build everything from scratch. There's cafes, there's bars, there's performers, music, art, everything. And so that has inspired me because I've seen a community being built in a week. I've seen there's sort of principles like participation, inclusion, self-reliance, self-expression, and that has inspired pretty much the rest of my life. So that was about 6 or 7 years ago.
That's awesome. That sounds like exciting, but do you think that life also has given you an opportunity to now come and express yourself in a different way?
Yeah, it's given me the confidence to do that, I think. So it's inspired, you know, when you're surrounded by so many people who have that mentality of, it's my, you know, I need to participate, I need to be authentically myself, and you're all put together, it's quite a beautiful thing because there's no one being exclusive. They're all happy to see you, and it gives you the confidence that there are people out there that you don't need to try and impress, you just be yourself. And I think that changed my life quite a lot, and it's really helped me to strive towards making positive change in the community, because I do have the confidence to think, well, it is kind of my role, everyone has a role to like participate and lead, and I think it really helped with any insecurities I had. I mean, I still have them, but it's I feel confident that I can at least try and achieve good things.
So Lucy, for radio, we need to explain some of the pictures that you've got here.
Yes.
You've got 2 beautiful young girls that are so active and vivacious like you. Tell me a bit about your girls.
Crazy.
What do you get?
I don't have that gene. Sorry, what was your...
So tell me, what do you get out of being a mum?
Oh, it's a bit of a roller coaster. I get a lot. my 3-year-old is very affectionate like me, and she will give me a big cuddle and whisper in my ear, "You're the best mum in the world." And like, it's those moments you just think, God, I can't even describe to someone what that feels like. It's hard to put into words, that feeling. And I guess seeing them grow, like seeing my eldest daughter go to school, I used to think, I'm never going to be one of those like proud parents of just normal stuff, but seeing her go off to school, I just did feel proud. I just thought, she's got the skills to do it, and we've definitely helped guide her, in the right direction. But there are definitely challenges. I mean, something which is important to me is well-being, especially for mothers. And so I sort of advocate for better support for mothers. I think mothers and fathers, but I have a lot of experience with having postnatal depression, and so that has really, really pushed me to advocate for better support for mums. And so I've given talks to midwives to talk about, things to look out for postnatal depression, because once you get it, it can be really hard to get your life back on track. And it has been a journey that has taken me 3 years since my daughter was born, my youngest, and I'm finally feeling really good, and I'm in a position to put some work into helping other people now. But for a while I've just had to, Joy for Generations is what we're going to talk about, but that is what's, I think, also kept me going at a lot of times when I felt quite drained and challenged by life as a mum, and the depression side of it. It's been great to have something that's just uplifted me.
That's really proud of you to actually speak about, because it does take quite a bit to speak about depression. And even though I've actually been a new mum and been depressed, I'm feeling overwhelmed by that lovely little baby that just looks, everybody just smiles at everybody else and does everything else. So tell me, what do you get out of being a wife? Because you're a wife, you're a mother, you're also a working girl. So let's talk about, what do you get out of being a wife?
I think that's a hard one, because it's an area which, when you're a parent, it gets underlooked, and I think if you can get through marriage with children, that's huge, and so it is something that you actively work on, and it, at the same time as when there are challenges, it is incredible to have someone in your court all the time. And I look at my husband and I want him to be happy, and I see that he can achieve a lot, and I hope he feels that I am like cheering him on, and I get that from him as well. And so it is a beautiful thing, but it's definitely a challenge too. Marriage is we could talk about that for a whole hour, but it wouldn't maybe be inspiring for me. But that's a big question.
It is a big question, because a lot of women are out there like yourself that are a mum, they're a wife, they're a working mum. And like myself, I've got a teenage son. You're juggling sports, you just feel like every ball's up in the air, and where do you go and where do they land? And a lot of parents out there are feeling the same. So tell me, what did Joy for Generations bring for your life? Because you've started Joy for Generations. So do you want to start off with explaining what is Joy for Generations?
So Joy for Generations is now a charity, and we've just got our charity status, which is very exciting. But how it started was when I was a very new mum, and I think she was 3 months old at the time, Sage, my oldest, and I was living in Australia, and I didn't have family around me, so I started visiting a rest home just down the road from me, and I just did it as a volunteer thing. I thought, I've got the time, I've got this baby, something to talk about, and it might be nice. And then when I got to the rest home and I started forming the connections with some of the seniors there, I started to see it's a really under-nurtured part of society. Like, there's huge gaps in younger generations and older generations, and it's taken me a while to put that into words, because I've seen it happening and I've just sort of thought, there's something not right here. And so I kept volunteering, and then I started inviting a mother's group along, and so we'd have a huge group and it would be a play group. So I started calling it an intergenerational play group. So we'd have the younger babies, would have toddlers, parents, and the seniors from the rest home, and we'd just spend an hour together, and that's really where it started. And so then when we moved back to New Zealand, I just thought, I'll start doing the playgroups again. And so I started at Wharekaka in Martinborough, because that's where I was living at the time. And then it's just skyrocketed, which I put down to the community here being amazing, because in Australia, maybe because it was the biggest city we were living in, it was hard to get the concept off the ground, whereas here it's just everyone's so supportive and sees, the value of a cohesive community. That's
really awesome.
Yeah.
So Lucy, we're going to leave it there and actually go to some music. Lucy's chosen this music. We actually can't read it on the cover at the moment.
Yeah.
But Lucy, with all of her music festivals, enjoys reggae. Lucy, you've given us a taster about Joy for Generations. We'll have a break and come back.
Okay, cool.
Salmonella dub dub tomfoolery. Salmonella dub dub figu Salmonella dub doom style and a
Welcome back to the Inspirational Communities. So if you're looking for programs to do this year, like crafts and bits and pieces, check out the Women's Centre Facebook. Vonnie's got lots of different things up. There's from Tai Chi to meditation to resilience programs. So take a chance to have a look. Welcome back, Lucy.
Thank you.
Lucy, let's talk about how did Joy for Generations come about? You talked about it coming into Australia, but how did you bring it into Carterton and the Wairarapa?
Yeah, so I started by putting some feelers out there by doing a few of the playgroups at rest homes, and then other rest homes heard about it, and so I ended up trying to get a group of volunteers together. And we ended up doing 10 rest home visits with playgroups, and the Prime Minister even came to one, which was exciting. And then I just saw it was turning into two. It was getting big quite organically, and it was too much for me just to do on my own. And so I started developing the concept of being an organisation, not just me. And that's where I came up with like a vision, and the vision is that all generations in our community are connected, valued and included. And once I sort of had that, I could see a little bit about the people I needed around me. So I started, I know we'll end up talking about how I put together the board, but yeah, it's just getting to a really good place now because we're a legal entity. We've got a clear vision and enough people around us to make us more trustable, and we've done pilot programs that have gone really well, and so it's definitely refined now, whereas before it was just all in my head. I was like, oh, there's this need and I need to fix it, and now it's actually like a proper entity of its own. Yeah.
Cool. So we're just going to have a look at the PowerPoint right now. So tell us a bit about some of the photos that you've got in the PowerPoint here.
Yeah, so on the left at the top there, it's me holding my daughter Sage at the rest home in Australia, and we ended up on the news there, and it was to do with how the residents who were all dementia residents, so they all had dementia, and when they saw a baby, it would positively affect their health, and they could see changes in people, and people who couldn't even speak would have a baby in front of them and start speaking, and it was pretty incredible. And so then I started to understand it was a health issue that we were also helping with. Loneliness and isolation can really affect health. And then in the next photo you'll see my second daughter Ruby, and that's Polly Matthews, who passed away a couple of months ago, but she was just the most incredible participant of our playgroups. She would be on the floor with the babies, and I'd say, Polly, watch out for your hips, and she just had so much fun, and we all had so much fun with her. And then the next one is Nell, who also passed away, but she was a really, really special woman. She wasn't able to communicate through words, but as you can see on the photo, her smile was just lighting up the whole room, and that's with little Henry. So we've sort of then put together, in the next slide you'll see kind of a little bit about what we're doing, which is bringing generations together. So you'll see on one side you've got a couple of older people, and on the other side you've got the younger people, and then in the middle they come together, and you see the older people acting more like younger people having fun with the older people, and the words around it, for anyone who can't see the slides, it says intergenerational connections benefit the mental and social health and well-being of all generations. Research shows that an active, involved senior has more enhanced mental and physical health and life satisfaction, and young people's self-esteem improves when they receive undivided attention from caring adults. So it's a really balanced thing. It's not just for seniors, and it's not just for kids. It's everyone. It's parents. It's people without kids can benefit from connecting with older people and younger people. And yeah, it's fun. I mean, as well, as good as it is for your health and things, it's just a really beautiful thing to experience, connecting with another generation.
So tell me some of the rest homes that you're connecting with through the Wairarapa.
Yeah, so I've pretty much been to every rest home in the Wairarapa, and with the playgroups, we've put the playgroups themselves on hold for a little while, because something which was happening was all the residents would be there and keen as to see the kids, and kids would walk in and it would be quite intimidating because you've got all these people in the room, and so it would be fun and the kids would warm up, but there was something that was when I really noticed there was a lack of education with the kids, and I thought, okay, how about we develop some learning for the kids before they get to the rest home, and that's where I've been working with Blue School, which is in Greytown. It's a preschool, and I've worked with the teachers to make a preschool program where we started off with teaching the preschoolers about what it's like growing older and talking about their grandparents and things like that, and then we introduced them to seniors, and now they do a weekly program where we get grand friends, we call them. So they're not, some of them are grandparents of the students, the preschoolers, but some of them are, say, from the Lions Club, the Lionesses, and seniors in our community, and we bring them along once a week. And it was running as a pilot for a term, and then it's had its second term, and now they're into their third term, and it's at a point where we're sort of handing it over to the preschool, and then we can step back because it's happening and they're comfortable with it and it's going really well. And that's what we're trying to do, is that we kind of hold the hands of people, organisations who are interested. We help to put together a program, and then we can stand back and be there if they need support. But it's something in the community which happens more organically. It's not us setting it up. Yeah.
I think that's really good to give them training, because there's a lot of young generation that don't have contact with their grandparents.
No, and they don't
with
think
extended
to.
families now,
Yeah.
so it gives them a good opportunity, and it's giving them life skills that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah, and I mean, something that dawned on me as an adult was when I went to this rest home and I saw that some people didn't get any visitors, not one, and I really, honestly, as naive as it sounds, didn't realise there was that much loneliness in the world, because my grandparents, especially my nonna, who had 5 kids and then so many grandkids, was always surrounded by people. And so when I saw in this rest home there was people just sitting in the same spot every day, some people wouldn't get out of their beds, so I'd walk in with a baby and I'd be so nervous because someone would just be lying there, and I was thinking, oh no, what's happened? And then I'd say, oh, the baby's here, and they would be out of bed talking to the baby, very, very engaged and healthy, but they had no reason to get out of bed, and so that was a moment I had of realizing, wow, there's loneliness and isolation, and I think what we're trying to do now is kind of campaign about alleviating loneliness and what social isolation is, because people don't think about it. Yeah,
it is. It's a big one, isn't it? So tell me, what's the other initiatives that you got for Joy for Generations?
Yeah, so we've still running with the preschool program, and that pilot went really well, so I'm hoping to bring on board some new preschools. We have a Happy to Chat bench in Carterton, which was a collaboration with Carterton Council, Kapai Carterton, neighbourhood support. There's a whole bunch of us, and our age concern, we all got together and we looked at putting a bench in town which made older people, but also anyone, but with the idea that older people could sit at this bench and know someone was happy to chat and sit next to them, and it just breaks down the social barrier, because people might sit next to someone and think, oh, do they just want to eat their lunch and not talk, or are they okay to talk? But if you're sitting there, it says sit here if you're happy to chat to the person next to you. And that's an initiative I saw happening overseas, and it was when a police officer had an elderly lady walk in, and she just wanted that social connection, but they were really busy, obviously being police officers, and so they just put a little sign on the bench down the road saying, sit here if you're happy to chat to someone. And then they just saw that chatting was happening, and it's sort of the step before feeling lonely, because we're hoping if people start talking to each other, people won't get to a point where they become really lonely and isolated. So yeah, we've got the Happy to Chat bench, which we're developing a bit more.
That's actually a really good one. So Helen Dew is the one that's in the photo that's there. I don't know whether you can see it with the logos up on the screen. But Helen Dew is actually one that's a really inspirational older generation person for a start.
Amazing.
And if I saw her sitting there, I'd go and sit down beside her every time.
I know. And I love seeing her. I drive past sometimes and I see Helen sitting there chatting to people. And we actually went up to Auckland, Helen and I and Rebecca Vergunst, and because I nominated Helen for New Zealand, it's Inspiring Woman of the Year, and that was 18 months ago. And so she went up to the awards, and we turned it into a Happy to Chat sort of adventure. And so Helen and I and Rebecca would use any opportunity we could to chat to people, and it was just opened up a whole different experience for us. You know, a lot of the times you're sitting on the train or the plane or wherever, and you're in your own bubble, and people were so in their bubbles, but we learned how to gauge on on whether they were open for chatting. And some people you can tell don't want to. Others, you know, you just have to make small talk, and then you see that they're lighting up and they want to talk. And we just met the coolest people, and that was fun doing it with Helen because she is just so great, and I learn so much from her, but she's also so youthful and so inspiring. Yeah,
she is very inspiring.
Yeah.
So the next one you've got is your preschool program that you spoke about.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Sending Joy. I love this one.
Yeah, so this is a really great one, which came about in just after lockdown. So last year I realised, you know, the community were really starting to think more about community issues, and you know, there was the teddy bears in the window thing during lockdown, and it was just really cool to see that happening. And so for me, when I was in lockdown with my kids, I started getting them to do pieces of art, which we were going to drop at the rest home once lockdown was finished, and they loved that. And then when we went and dropped them off to some of the senior people in the rest home, it was just amazing to see. So then I started working with Age Concern and making sure we connected with all the people who register with Age Concern but living independently at home, because they can still be quite isolated. And so we got 450 pieces of art made by children in our community, and that got sent out to people living in their homes. And then I think it was because of COVID and not being able to have contact, it was great to think of alternative ways to make contact. So then we kept that momentum going, and for Christmas we did the Christmas card campaign, and I think I've got a slide right at the end actually about it, which we can flick to later. But we got 1,200 cards sent out, and it was really awesome. Like, I think it was great to see people just come on board with it, and something they could do from home. It only took 5 minutes to write a card. Some people there was one person who made 200 cards.
That's amazing, isn't it?
So it's cool, yeah.
Even our idea services made cards.
Oh,
so
cool.
with our craft group, they made cards.
Yeah.
So it gave them an opportunity to give as well.
Because that's part of it, is people, it's good for people to know they can help, and it actually feels really good to help someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the other one we've got here is the intergenerational.
Yeah.
Workshop. So what's happening there with the workshop?
Yeah, so we started connecting with Jonas, who makes amazing music, and we went around rest homes and we took all of his instruments, and we got schools along and things. So we'd still like to do that. The workshop is cool because it's not so daunting, because you walk in to do an activity together. So you're learning together. You're not a younger person teaching an older person or an older person teaching. You're all learning together. And so I really do love the workshops. We've done poi workshops as well with Spin Poi, who there's an awesome lady who travels around New Zealand teaching poi workshops. So we got her to do a few intergenerational ones, and she loved them, because she usually only works with either older people or younger people. She doesn't usually have an organisation to connect the two. So it was a really great experience to do that with her. But there's even things like we've got Wairarapa Children's Day coming up the first Sunday in March, and we are putting on a workshop that will include some kaumātua, some older people in our community, and we are just working through the details now, but it'll be a craft sort of thing where we hear some stories from the kaumātua, and then we put together a cloak with feathers, and every person, not just the kids, the parents, anyone else who's around, we're going to try and get people to bring their grandparents, and we can each contribute, colour in a feather, and then it gets hung up and included on a cloak, and it's just a really, it's things like that. We're just trying to just find opportunities to get all ages together.
My God, your mind must be spinning at times with some of your ideas.
Yeah, sometimes. I think it has really helped having a board of trustees who they do the strategy side of it. I'm not on the board of trustees. I made the decision to stay operational, and that's been great because they can guide me with like the strategy side of it, and it's been really good.
Excellent. We're going to go for a break because I think Lucy needs a break after that, because it's wonderful to hear what's going on. We're just going to go for a break and listen to some more music. Welcome back to the Inspiring Communities. It's actually been a really interesting morning speaking to Lucy, but remember, there's also programs that you can do at the Women's Centre. So make sure that you check out the Facebook, give Bonnie a call and book your chance onto there. So they're actually starting up a craft group at the Women's Centre, and so find out more about that, because it's knitting for charities, and I think that's really important to be able to find a way to give back to the community. So welcome back, Lucy.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We're going to talk about your board and what the board's given to you. So I'm just going to put the laptop on now, and we'll put a photo on. And let's start with Roger.
Yeah.
We've got Roger here at the start.
Yep, Roger Tweedy. He is quite well known in our community because he is involved in a lot of different committees and at a board level, and he's someone I sort of thought was out of reach with when I was putting my board together, and we had met. He'd sort of given me a bit of guidance, because I'd started to think, if I take this idea forward, because the goal would be one day we go nationwide, how do I grow it? What sort of organisation are we? And so he started to think, talk to me about whether we could become a social enterprise, or, what sort of way to go. And then we decided on being a trust, a charitable trust. So it was great. It's just been great to have Roger, who has definitely brought governance on, and that's so important. He's... his
experience and skills are amazing, aren't they?
Amazing, yeah. And network, he's got a huge network, because he is so heavily involved in the community, both in Wellington and in the Wairarapa and nationwide. He's quite well known in the community sector.
Excellent. Who's the next one? You got you in the back, and who's the next one?
So Emily Clark, I met Emily when she was working for Age Concern, and then Emily took on a role as the I'm going to think of the name. It was a long title, Positive Aging Strategy Coordinator. And she's having time with her family now, but that was really having someone with the interest and experience with older people, and a personality like Emily, who's really confident, and she's someone who can achieve so much. That was a really special one for me, because she helped me when I was feeling quite, you get exhausted trying to put together, drive an organisation forward. Sometimes you get knocked back for funding, and sometimes it's all feeling too much, and she really helped to keep me on track. And then she helped around engaging board members, and it's been awesome working with her. And the two ladies at the front, I brought onto the board specifically for a Te Ao Māori perspective. I really want our organisation to work closely with iwi, and I think they'll bring experience, with iwi as well as law background,
And their names are?
So Tahia's at the front there. Now I'm nervous and I've just had a mind blank. That's why I was trying not to answer that, but thanks, Kim. And so, the two ladies at the front there. We're already working closer with the kaumātua now, locally, because if you go to rest homes, you see the majority are white, and that is something which stood out to me, and I just thought, it's not it's not the entire picture. And so we've already established that there is like a kaumātua council, and we just want to become an organisation which is trusted to that council, and we can work together collectively, and so they're awesome. I'm super happy to have them both, and then we've got Peter at the back there, who actually Peter's dad is a friend of mine, and he is in one of the rest homes. So his wife was Nell, who was back in one of the photos with baby Henry, and when Nell passed away, I would visit her husband Paul, and I'd take my kids, and he sort of became like this surrogate grandfather figure. You know, we always got excited going to see him, and he would just light up, and people would say, "Is that your granddaughter?" You know, and he'd say yes, and I, you know, sometimes would think, "Oh, I don't know if he is saying that because he feels that connection, or you know, because he's older and he was a bit confused." But either way, it was just amazing to have a connection with Paul. He's great. So Peter is Paul's son, and it's been cool because he's seen Joy for generations, you know, what we've done for his dad and with his dad, and the joy that we have been able to bring. And so it was cool to have Peter step onto the board, because he also not only does he have the experience of seeing us in action kind of thing, but he also has his own business. He's great at marketing, and he brings that business management perspective, which is important because we really, even though we're definitely a not-for-profit, and that's how we operate, is you know, we still need to get funding to do basic operational you know, things. And so so he's going to help with that, and so that photo was actually taken at our strategy meeting. So we've got this strategy facilitator on the right there, and and so we all got together, and we've done this a few times, just looking at the next 12 months, the next 5 years, and then
fantastic. That's what organisations need. They need to see the future. So we've got here sharing with the seniors. So let's talk through this one here. There's multiple pictures. Now guys, if you want to see these pictures that are on radio, and it's worthwhile going. I really enjoy always, about every 2-3 months I go in and have a look, see what's going on with Joy for Generations. But it's a good chance. So we're going to talk you through it, but the pictures will be on the website. We've got all the photos. We've got so many photos on our website. So the slide that you can see now is about sharing joy with seniors. So this was the COVID response project. So this was just out of lockdown, so we got 50 art packs sponsored by Wairarapa, and we put together these art packs so that families could pick up a pack of resources. You know, we had pens, paint, glitter, although I've learned not all families like glitter, not all parents are into the glitter thing, so that might have to come off the list for next time. But you know, lots of colourful card and paper, and that's when we collected the 450 pieces of art. So in the photos you can see the families together, and the kids being very proud of their artwork, and it, you know, it's just special. And it is very special, isn't it? Lots of people. And seeing the guy that's actually that's Paul. That's Paul, who I was just talking about. That was when we visited him after lockdown. He's really engrossed in what he's seen. That's really fantastic. So nice to see hands and bits and pieces of the kids, and the drawings of the houses and everything like that. And it's cool because it gives parents a chance to talk to their kids about where this artwork is going and why they're doing it. It's almost like a prop for the conversation. That's really good. So the next one we've got is the cards. Now the Christmas cards that went out were amazing. They're pretty special. So I've got some of the cards there which from the kids, just super bright and colourful. And then you can see the photos of them actually being given to some of the seniors. So those were at Carter Court. That was a visit when I delivered some of those cards. Those cards were from Carterton School that the senior residents are holding. But it was amazing walking into the room, because when I went to deliver the cards, you know, I walk in and everyone was quiet, and you know, and then I start handing out the cards, and there's just like this buzz in the room, like the energy hugely changes, and everyone's giggling away at the different cards and messages and showing each other and wanting to show me the cards even though I've seen them. But you know, it was just incredible. I would love to see to be able to bring more people into rest homes, or inspire more people to visit rest homes, just to see that in person, because you can see a photo or you can hear about it, but actually going in and seeing someone's face light up when you give them a card or something is so inspiring. It is. Let's have a look at the next one. So it talks about your vision, and you know, you've got improve, promote, share, create, and inspire. You definitely have inspired, and you've created such a connection. When you look through that, tell me, what do you get out of looking at that with your 5 different visions that you have? Sometimes I look at it and I just think, geez, I try and achieve a lot.
And I get that all the time from people. They're like, are you trying to change the world? And I'm like, yes, but I don't want, it's not that I want to. I just think there's a need, and I never wanted to set up a charity. Like, that's just, it sounds stressful. It is stressful. It's hard. But here I am. But so I think when I look at that, I do think, it is, it's a lot, but I'm here and I'm doing it and I'm trying. So you can only, you've got to aim big. You've got to dream big.
Definitely do. And I hope you put this actually up on your website as well, because it's really fantastic to see. It's really good to see that some of the things that you've got are actually people are able to see and enjoy for longer. So people that are at home might be able to connect to you through that way. Yeah. So tell me, how do they connect to you?
So we've got a website, which is joyforgenerations.org. And after we did, we sent out all the art, I sent out my contact details with it. And so I got some really great phone calls from people in their 80s and 90s who received art and cards. But it was great because some of them gave me feedback on things like the website, that the font was too small. And it was awesome because I was like, yes, great, I will just make the font bigger. And, it was cool. So we've got everything on the website, joyforgenerations.org. You can contact me at lucy@joyforgenerations.org. And on Facebook, Joy for Generations. Yeah. Instagram.
And watch out for on the chair and carton
and
too,
happy to chat. So you can find me at the Happy to Chat chair, Happy to Chat bench. We also do a Happy to Chat table at page 42, which is the cafe across the road from the chair, just in case anyone is sitting down for a coffee and doesn't mind someone joining them. You can actually put a sign that says, sit here if you're happy to chat, to the person next to you. And then I think you get your coffees cheaper that way too, if you're happy to be the person to, do
now
that.
We know your secret of why you're sitting
$2 coffees.
And Rebecca's.
So there's a few different ways to connect with us. Yeah, and we're always hoping to hear from people because we like feedback, and we are community led, so we want to hear if there's things people want to see or want to help with. Yeah.
And with being a not-for-profit organisation, there's always things that are needed. So if you have an idea to help raise some funds or find some supplies, Lucy would love to hear from you so she can take it back to the board. Being a not-for-profit organisation, starting from the start, Lucy, funding is hard to get, isn't it?
It's hard. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. We're definitely trying to think, because we don't want our services to ever be paid for. We don't want anyone to have to pay for themselves, because we want to see that happening. If someone's lonely, it seems wrong that they would have to pay to fix that. So that's why we've gone through trying to get funding, which is hard.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah. The whole funding round is really quite hard.
Yeah.
But Lucy, this is not all that you do. You've got go-karting on the go as well. So we're just going to take a couple of minutes to find out what go-karting is. Lucy has bugged me to come and interview me. So once Lucy talks about go-karting, Lucy's going to be the interviewer.
Yay. So I just want to hurry up so I can start interviewing you now. Go-karting. Yes, so it's a organisation which is all about being the voice for Carterton businesses. So things like advocating on issues or challenges, forming or helping to facilitate connections and networks for businesses, to really help them grow. And they've taken on a project called a business mapping project. So that's where I've come on as the project manager, and it's been really refreshing, to be honest, to not have to worry about the funding and the marketing and everything. It's literally just to come in and do the project, which is awesome, and I'm feeling very thankful to do it. So I get to go out and talk to 200 businesses, and I get to hear about challenges and aspirations and just really give them a chance to have their voice heard, and then take that. And there's people, like I meet with the mayor, and I can tell him straight away, hey, we're seeing a trend to do with, say people haven't got information around certain topics to do with business. I can tell him straight away, and then he knows, and he's really happy to put together comms for that issue, or for or get people in and talk with them. Being a
businessman himself, he knows the challenges, doesn't he? He understands it.
It's the first time I've worked with the mayor, and it's been awesome. Greg is great, and I see him wanting to help these businesses. Great. So he's wanting to get updates about the project and trends and things. So people can find out out more on the Go Carterton Facebook page, or Carterton NZ is the website. And yeah, my goal is to talk to 200 businesses in the next 2 months.
Wow. Okay, Lucy, here goes.
Yay!
You have got 5 minutes to interview me.
5 minutes is not long enough. I want to show. I'm gonna actually aim. I'm gonna dream big and say we're gonna come back and you're gonna do an interview, a proper interview. Anyway, so 2021, it's a new year, and people often start the year with some inspiration to make some positive in their life, try something new. I was just wondering if there's anything this year that's going to be different for you.
Yes, there is actually.
Ooh.
As of Monday, I resigned from the Wairarapa Women's Centre.
Wow, that's big.
For a stopgap job of 3 years. I've been there for 3 years.
Amazing.
And so I decided it's time to go and get more hours for my family.
Yeah.
When you've got a teenage son, my God, does it take a bit to feed those
yeah,
legs?
I was thinking food. Oh my gosh, even my 3-year-old daughter eats so much. I can't imagine a teenage boy. Wow. Well, that is huge. I mean, congratulations. It's also hard because I've met you through the Women's Centre, and I've seen you helping and supporting the Women's Centre, and so it's a hard one because as much as I'm happy for you, it's a loss, for the centre and the Women's Centre, and I'm sure they will acknowledge this, but I just want to say, thank you for that and being such a really passionate person in our community and in the Women's Centre, because, that's sad to see you go from that, but it's awesome to hear that you've got new things on the horizon.
So I'm heading off to a new job. It's going to be at Connecting Communities as a social service coordinator.
Amazing.
Doing financial mentoring, which I enjoy doing.
That's so great.
I enjoy working with family within poverty, so it's going to be a new challenge, new horizon for me, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, that's so great, Kim. That's so awesome.
Fantastic.
Is there any part of that role that you're particularly looking forward to?
I think the financial mentoring, because there's so many families out there that are struggling. So many families, and we've been in a situation where my husband was made redundant.
Oh, that's hard.
And change from a high level job down to a basic wage.
Yeah.
And you learn to adjust, but it does take a while.
Yeah.
So there's people out there that have been affected big time by redundancies, by changes of jobs, decreasing hours. So I'm really looking forward to working in that.
Oh, how great. And people will see you out in the community, which will be great. Yes,
I still will be there. You're not getting rid of me out of the community.
That's so good.
My passion for the community is still very much there.
Big passion. It's amazing. And I imagine that's quite you might get a bit of compassion fatigue, which is what I've got friends in that area when you're helping families, and it's really hard to see families go through tough times, and I imagine that'll be quite challenging, but you can see that you'll be helping them, and it's always nice to have experience. That's why I like advocating for mental health, because I've got the experience, and it's kind of it's always great to help to guide and improve situations. You'll be great.
So for my well-being, I do a lot of badminton coaching. So I've played badminton since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I went back last year and coached at Chanel College.
Awesome.
And took 5 kids to Wellington to a wake-up call for what Wellington was like.
How did that go?
The kids actually, for the first day, thought, what have we struck? The second day we went down, we said, they were playing the same team again the second day, go and do better. Just go and play against your own score.
Yeah.
If you get 5 points, it's a bonus, and every 5 points you get a bonus. So when one walked off the court at 2021, that was an elation for us, and everybody in Wellington were like, what, these Wairarapa people coming here? So I've got people that are actually asking for more coaching for kids, and currently at the moment Hutt Valley runs competition, and there's only one term that each level does, and the kids are asking for more. So we're looking at what ways and means can do it, and I'm still going to have that time to do that. Awesome. And of course with Jacob being involved as well, it means that we get time of playing together. I had the sports coordinator from Chanel College text me the other day at the grocery shop going, kids are missing you, when are you coming back?
Oh, of course.
So,
nice.
It's just a great chance of getting out there. It's that intergenerational, again, breaking down the generations.
Yeah, and there's actually something nice about connecting with people who aren't your kids. Like something I love is my friends' kids, and it's just really special. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the parenting side. You just get to have fun with them, and then I'm sure they appreciate that too with having you in their lives. Like I can imagine that'd be awesome for them. So
so our life's going to change dramatically, but we sat down as a family. It's a family decision, and it's nice to have family support, and I think it's important when you're going into a new job.
Definitely.
And doing learning. I've got to go and do some training myself.
Cool.
So it's widening my horizons, and I love training.
Yeah.
Don't tell people I'm addicted. But during my time at the Women's Centre, I've done my money management through Te Wānanga with Jeanette Hall, who's fantastic.
Amazing.
She's brilliant. She's the one that actually really sort of inspires me to go into that financial side of things.
Cool.
Then I did my literacy and numeracy level 5, and then I went into my adult tertiary training. So in the 3 years I've been at the Women's Centre, I've done a lot of training as well.
That's amazing.
So 15 hours of work and probably about 15 to 20 hours each week of training as well.
That's huge. I had no idea. You can cram a lot in.
You sure can, and especially you'll enjoy it when you get an older child. You can cram a lot in. Well, Lucy, we're just signing off today. It's coming to the end. So I'd like to wish everybody a really fantastic 2021, and I'm sure you'll see me out there and around. And all the best, and remember, take care of each other, be humble, and make sure your community's safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.